in the email I received, it said that you could speak a little bit to the question of other poor health outcomes that we're seeing among kids who are not attending school. Is there hard data on that, or is it more just something that you're seeing because you know people?
I I mean, for me personally, I'm getting messages from a lot of parents looking for resources and help. They're not getting it from the school system. I'm a former special ed student. I have dyslexia. And, when I started speaking about that publicly, saying I cannot imagine what those kids are going through, a lot of parents started messaging me talking about the fact that their IEPs are not being met, or you have kids who test very normally that are severely depressed. Um, my son has had some severe depression, and I'm very lucky because he is in therapy. But you know, you don't want to have to put your 5-year-old in therapy because he has to be on Zoom all day. And the fact that I have to do that in order for him to get an education is a huge obstacle for him getting that education. And there sadly there's not enough hard data right now. The media is talking about the fact that there are not enough pediatric specialists for mental health in Oregon, across the country, because they've never needed it in this quantity before. Does that help you? It's something that, because we can't see it right now, it is going to come out when kids maybe go back to the classrooms, when kids go back and teachers see bruises or other issues that they've maybe self-inflicted or have been inflicted on them. We are going to be playing catch up with this for years to come. It's right now, because everyone's at home, you're not seeing it. It'll become visible soon enough.
I'd like to ask the question a different way. And the question I'd like to ask this time is, what do you see the grounds of the debate being? Essentially, like, if you allow the teachers union to define the terms of the terms of the debate are, and this is their phrasing on it, are teachers who are sticking up for students of color who've been ignored against the wishes of white wealthy parents. That's how they frame the debate. So how would you frame the debate?
Well, first off, I'm not a white, wealthy person of power. I am biracial. My son has my exact same skin color, and I've adopted outside of my race. So I have a daughter who is Thai. I'm half Indian from India. And the truth is, I'm personally, as a person of color, I'm really offended by what they're saying. I am, it makes me very angry. First off, how dare they take my voice? That is for me to decide. That is for me to say. Why are they saying that? Where do they get off filling in the voice of people of color? Like, I don't know how to answer that. But
But
as a
let,
person of
let me
color
let me
who has had her voice taken away, like, I do not appreciate them putting words in my mouth and trying to say that it's for the betterment of my child. Don't I get to make a choice about my children? My daughter is 4. She will need ESL. ESL is now being taught on a screen. Have you ever tried to learn a foreign language on a screen? It does not go well. And kindergarten is not going well. But, you know, when it's not going well, the screen gets turned off and the teacher does not get to see that. There are a lot of things that they are not seeing because, when my son is frustrated and he wants to hit his head on the wall, we turn the screen off. Yesterday the school had a psychologist or the school counselor on. He hung up on him because he didn't want to play zoo or whatever it was. There are a lot of things that the teachers union does not see, that teachers do not see. But it's up for me as a parent to decide what is best for my child. And it's up to the school district to give me the education that my children need and to give them the safe place they can be. And I think the bigger question that we have to ask here is not necessarily about the union, but who the school districts are trying to serve. Are they are they being an employer or are they taking care of students? Because if they're being an employer, let's be honest, be an employer, come out with a different product. But right now, children's education is the product that they're in the business of manufacturing. And that is the product that I am not receiving. Every time I'm on Zoom with my son, his kindergarten teacher is amazing, but he doesn't learn it through the screen because there is something about mediated communication with kids where their brains do not interpret it properly. It puts up a huge block. It's not physical. They need hands-on instruction. They need tactical input in order to learn. And that's one of those things that happens as children's brains develop between being a baby and being a teenager and an adult. Adults don't have to touch things. Children do. You can't touch a Zoom screen. When he's learning to spell words, he has to move the little letters with his finger. That's not the same as touching a magnetic letter. But when, he gets an assignment, I have to sit there next to him and figure out how to make it something that he can physically touch so he can understand it. And then I have to take a picture of it. And it sometimes takes me 10 minutes to turn in one assignment that if he were in class would have taken him 5 minutes to do. That is from my time. And I'm sitting there trying to get him to do it. And I probably spend 2 hours a day having arguments with him about getting his work done. That does not make him feel good. That makes me feel horrible as a parent. And I'm sitting here wondering why it is that I have to do this. My husband is a family doctor. We have read the studies from Europe. The New England Journal of Medicine had a really interesting note or letter about schools in, I think, Switzerland or Sweden. Leslie, you might know, and about how they ended up being safer for teachers when they didn't use safety precautions because that was the beginning of the pandemic. They didn't shut down at all versus the general population. There are studies and studies again that show this can be done safely. And so I'm wondering why it is that the teachers union is in charge of judging what is safe for my child. Why am I not talking about that with my school district?